EO, and how we try to mask the funk that just won't pass. To find out how we do, we need to figure out why we do. How do we smell odor, and how do we make it? Well, let's start from the beginning. No, not that beginning. It all starts with our body producing sweat from our eccrine glands. From there, little bacteria living on the skin eat some of the compounds in our sweat. Those compounds are decomposed in the bacteria's body, then released as that stank. Now these odor molecules then float to the nearest nose holes. Once inside that beautiful snot logger, the molecule then lands on the olfactory epithelium. This is a tissue that is covered with mucus and lines the inside of the nasal cavity. Once nestled on that cozy loogie blanket, underneath that tissue, there are millions of olfactory bulbs, and within those millions, each identifying certain smells. From there, the receptors send signals, aka odorant patterns, to the brain identifying smell. Of course, this could be good or bad. So now that we know how our body makes that funk, and how we are able to smell that funky nonsense, we can take a trip through history to find out how we try to get rid of it. Now, the earliest use of unfunkin begins with the ancient Egyptians. They made thick paste or oil-based salves out of ostrich eggs, tortoise shells, gala nuts, and for fragrance, they would mix in plants like cinnamon, lily, cardamom, and rose, to name a few. The Egyptians also burned incense and made jewelry that used scented materials. In ancient Rome and Greece, aromatic spices and perfumes spread across the land as luxury goods, thanks to the trade routes between the Mediterranean and the Middle East. Also at the time, it was very common for people in the Roman Empire to take baths. After the baths, they would typically anoint their bodies with scented oil. It is also the earliest known to have perfumery shops that traded in perfumes. The spread of organized religion helped boost and also put the brakes on the unfunkin of people. Clergy believed that it was a sinful indulgence to use perfumes, and many Christians believed taking baths was a sin because it was viewed as pride or vanity. Luckily for us, the Islamic communities, the eastern part of the Byzantine Empire, kept bathing in scented oils alive. Bathing customs evolved into hammam, or as we know today, Turkish baths. Around the 11th century, Crusaders returning back from the Holy Land brought back to Europe scented treasures and renewed the tradition of bathing for the people. Also during this time period, Middle Eastern inventors created what we know today as body soap. Smell-good bars of soap, which became a primary use for perfumes. Before they invented this better version, soap was rough and smelled like ash and animal fat, because that's what it was basically made of, those two ingredients. During the 13th century, chemists mastered the art of distilling. This helped make it easier to get essential oils out of natural things that smelled good. They also combined alcohol to these oils to create perfumes as we know them today. The alcohol makes the perfume dry quickly on the skin. During the 15th, 16th century, it was a bad time. People did not smell good, or live that long. The Bubonic Plague spread across Europe. Most of the public bathhouses were closed due to two things. One, people believed that the plague was passed through the air. And two, the false idea of the sickness easily spreading into the skin soaked in water. During the 17th and 18th century, the advent of more refined, potent, herbal and floral scents became trendy because people still be stinking from no bathing. France became the dominant capital of the world in the perfume industry. One of the most popular perfumes was Eau de Cologne. The recipe was originally produced as protection against the plague. French aristocrats got into perfume so much they even installed perfume fountains at dining events. Luckily, good change was coming for the people, but not so much for the king and queen. A revolution! During and after the revolution, clothing started shifting to simpler, lighter, less layer fabric made from cotton. This made clothes easier to wash. By the mid-1800s, smell improved a lot in Europe. Sanitation became a big issue, so they started expanding access to fresh water, systemizing garbage disposal, and constructing new and improved sewer systems. So now with better hygiene and cleaner streets, the need for super potent perfumes to control stench was a thing of the past. This helped perfume become purely for beauty, and it aligned with the fashion world during the Victorian era. 19th century, in the States, we were still kind of reluctant in taking baths. But thankfully, by the late 19th century, the US adopted better ways of cleaning, like showers and toothbrushes. The earliest successful brand of commercial underarm deodorant was invented in 1888, and it was named Mum. After Mum was a big success, many other imitations were created. In 1912, the daughter of a surgeon in Connecticut who created antiperspirant to keep his hands dry during surgery had an ad agency push the product called Odor No. The ad agency used excessive sweat as a call to action, saying it was a medical disorder, and that helped push the sales of the product. Later, the ad agency was able to push Odor No ads to women saying they had BO, aka body odor, that no one would tell them about. This was the first time the phrase BO was used. After time and many companies' successful ads, the female customer base was securely locked down. The American deodorant market now needed to go after the male customer base, so they created ads saying smell would keep men from being successful at work and at life. We now live in a world full of deodorants. The trade routes to empires, newspaper to radio to video ads. And that's how we came to be a smell good society fighting against the evil Funkasaurus Rex. Stay fresh out there.